Hello, my name is Tylluan. I'm a solitary pagan witch and author and the founder of the Wolf and Howl Press. And tonight's little chat, coming as it does during the run-up to Yule, is based on this book of mine, The Magical World of the Anglo-Saxons. Now in this book I very much tried to stick to what is known of the Anglo-Saxon traditions. However, that said, you have to bear in mind that they were not a literate society. Everything they had was passed down orally by word of mouth, which is fine, but it's a very easy tradition to break. So once you have a challenge by once you have a challenge by something like the Christian Church, which already was literate, had writing, it was very much easier to take out the oral traditions, to stifle them, to change them without being challenged in any way, without even having a chance to write down what they thought. So mostly I did try to stick to the Anglo-Saxon traditions and what we know of them. We can suspect that a lot of things, we know they were very fond of bread and cake. And of course, even now in the UK, we celebrate anything that really needs celebrating. Birthdays, isn't it? Birthdays, weddings, all sorts of stuff. We celebrate with cake. And I think this was something that has come to us from much more distant times. And we know that things like hot cross buns, for example, are cakes that were made Christian by putting a cross on them. And I think that this probably happened with an awful lot of stuff at around Yule as well. If you think about it, what are the main the big saints' days of Yule? Well, one of the big ones is December the 6th. And that is St. Nicholas's Day. Now, not such a big deal perhaps in the UK, or maybe not even in the US and Canada, but in parts of the continent, a very big thing, because that's the time when Santa Claus, St. Niklaus, comes around and puts presents in the children's shoes. That's the plan anyway. But there's another thing here, and I thought I'd try and tell you that in Northern Europe, St. Nicholas's Day was celebrated with cakes resembling early drawings of Woden, where the bishop's mitre, the big hat that the bishop wears, replaced Woden's helmet, and where the bishop's crozier, that big shepherd's crook thing, replaced Woden's spear. That's an interesting one, isn't it? There are lots of things like this. You've got to go looking for them, In fact, almost all the cake traditions in the old Germanic states were very, very closely associated with heathen gods. You find St. Martin of Tours in November the 11th, his festival. He would have these figures sometimes mounted on a stick, horses mounted on a stick, or birds mounted on a stick in some places. The birds may have represented the raven, which was associated with Woden, and the Norse version, which is Odin. These are all things we think about them. They're not written in stone. I'm not a total recreationist, if you like. I'm not somebody who's trying to recreate the ancient world of the Anglo-Saxons, because I don't think we can. I just don't think we know enough. I mean, there was a case at one of the big shipbuilders, I think it might have been Sutton Hoo actually, where they thought they had a harp or something, and it turned out to be a lyre, which is quite a different instrument, and they'd recreated all the bits, and said this is what it looked like, and after about 30 odd years they said nope, back to the drawing board, we don't think it was that after all. So these things do happen, and if I seem a little cautious sometimes in what I say, it's really because I think we do need to be careful. We can never reconstruct entirely what went before. And of course another thing is that one area to another could change as well. So I feel that whatever we do, if we do it in the spirit of trying to follow what we know, trying to find out a bit more, fine. But we're not trying to do a complete makeover. We're not trying to do something like a reenactment society. I mean, there are people who do, and I take my hat off to them. It's wonderful what they do. But I think for the purposes of a spiritual path, we're trying to link with the spirit of it, the spirituality of it. The truth is we don't entirely know. We know that certain areas were very different. The kingdom of Mercia, for example, was quite different from the kingdom of, Northumbria. They're very different. And these regional differences, as well as the difference of time, they're all very important. And I'm sorry my dog's making such a racket tonight. I did think Noah might have come and joined in because he was awfully excited when he knew we were going to start filming. But he seems to have keeled over and gone to sleep. So I think these things are all important. I think the most important thing is to enjoy it, to relax, not to allow yourself to be swept up in a mad rush. That's not really what it's about. When you think of it, you see, people used to get ready years ago. They used to kill their pig or what have you. They used to salt their vegetables or pickle this or put so-and-so in brine or what have you. And the preparation was quite slow. It began with the harvest and they put food away ready so they wouldn't starve. They got things ready. They got firewood in, stuff like that. Now it's just what can you buy? What can you run mad at the shops for? It shouldn't be like that, okay? Not on a spiritual path. Spiritual path, less is more. Pull yourself back from it a bit and see what really matters to you. A tiny little ritual done with real feeling, real commitment is better than trying to set up a huge altar for yourself or set up this or get a massive group together. It doesn't always work. You know, when I was a child, my mother came from a huge family and they'd all come round at Christmas time, as we always called it Christmas then. Although it was a family of witches, they always called it Christmas because everybody else did. But they'd all come round at Christmas, they'd get absolutely sozzled and they'd all fight. This is not the way to do it. Okay, so less is more. Enjoy yourself. Yes, by all means, go and have your mead and your whiskey, whatever. But don't always try and stay in control of what you're doing. Don't let it control you. Not on a spiritual path. Yes, if you just want to go there and feast, fine. Let your spiritual path go for a day or so. Doesn't hurt. It's not going to be anything drastic. But at the end of the day, try and get back on it. Try not to fall off it completely. But probably quite enough from me now. Go and enjoy your cake baking. And don't feel you have to make this huge fruit cake. Go and make some little biscuits shaped like birds on sticks or, you know, wooden biscuits or whatever you fancy, you know. Just enjoy it. Have fun with it. And spread a bit of that fun and that joy and that kindness around you too. It's like glitter, you know, like fairy dust. It does work. It does make a difference. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me. Good night.